Sunstone sits in a category that is easy to misunderstand if you only approach it from the surface. It is often introduced as a stone of joy or positivity, and while that isn't incorrect, it is incomplete. What makes sunstone distinct is not simply that it is associated with light, but that it is built in a way that interacts with light in a very specific, structural way. It belongs to the feldspar family, a group of minerals that form in cooling magma, which already places it in a context of transformation rather than stability. It is not a mineral that forms quietly over long periods of sedimentation. It forms in environments defined by heat, pressure, and change. What separates sunstone from other feldspars is the presence of microscopic inclusions, most often copper, though sometimes hematite or other minerals, that sit within the stone as thin, plate-like structures. When light enters the crystal, it does not pass through evenly. Instead, it strikes these internal planes and reflects back in small, concentrated flashes. This is what creates the effect known as aventurescence, the visible shimmer that gives the stone its name. The appearance is not superficial. It is the result of how the material is built. Light is taken in, interrupted, and then released in a way that is directional and intermittent rather than constant. That structure matters because it mirrors how the stone has been understood across different systems. Sunstone is consistently associated with activation, but not in the sense of raw intensity. It does not behave like something that floods a system with energy. Instead, it aligns more closely with the idea of stored potential becoming usable in moments. It is not about constant output, it is about access. Historically, the name Sunstone carries a layer of cultural association that is often simplified. There are references to Viking navigation stones, which were said to help locate the sun under overcast skies by interacting with polarized light. Whether the exact material used was feldspar sunstone or another mineral such as calcite is still debated, but the association remains significant. The idea is not just that the stone is connected to the sun, but that it helps locate direction when direct visibility is compromised. It functions, symbolically and practically, as a tool for orientation rather than illumination alone. This pattern continues in other cultural references. In Greek traditions, it was linked to solar deities and the concept of vitality, while in various indigenous practices, it has been used in contexts related to life force and renewal. Across these interpretations, the common thread is not simply brightness or positivity, it is movement, direction, and the ability to engage with what is already present, but not immediately accessible. When viewed through a behavioral or nervous system lens, sunstone aligns with a very specific type of activation. It does not push, it does not overwhelm. Instead, it supports a shift from hesitation into action by making energy available in a way that can be used. This distinction is subtle but important. There is a difference between intensity and usability. Sunstone sits firmly in the latter. It is often associated with confidence, but not the kind that is forced or performative. It is closer to a regulated state in which decisions can be made and acted on without excess friction. Because of this, its placement and use reflect its nature. In environments where activity, clarity, or forward movement are needed, it integrates easily. In spaces designed for rest or withdrawal, it can feel out of place unless balanced by something that stabilizes or grounds its effect. It is not inherently disruptive, but it is directional. It introduces a sense of motion, even if that motion is subtle. The way sunstone interacts with other materials follows the same logic. When paired with stones that support its function, such as those associated with creativity, awareness, or emotional balance, it tends to enhance a sense of coherence. When combined with materials that either heavily dampen or excessively amplify energy, The result can feel uneven. This is not because the stone itself is incompatible, but because its role is specific. It converts and releases. It does not dominate or suppress. Even its care reflects its structure. As a feldspar, it is durable, but not indestructible. It benefits from handling that acknowledges its composition rather than treating it as something inert. The same applies to how it is approached conceptually. Sunstone is not simply a symbol of light. It is a material that demonstrates what happens when light is interrupted, redirected, and returned in usable forms. If there is a single idea that carries through all of this, it is that Sunstone represents a transition point. It sits between potential and action, between internal resource and external expression. It does not create energy in the way it is often described. It reveals how energy moves when it becomes accessible. That is a different function entirely, and it is the reason the stone continues to hold relevance across both physical and symbolic systems.